Okay, we are recording. And welcome everyone to the Gnostic Union, Spiritual Level Being. We have here now Pastor or Father David, who is now a
Oh,
priest in the Gnostic Union. We welcome you here, David. Fantastic honor to have you.
thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
We have an interesting topic today, actually. We have what do we as Gnostics think of AI? With AI growing at a rapid rate, how will we be able to separate the real from the illusion and how that can play into Gnostic theology and cosmology? David here picked the subject.
Yes, that's actually been something that's been on my heart heavily because I am I actually outside of spirituality, so to speak. I've always wanted to be a filmmaker, and with AI growing the way it is, and seeing the topics that goes into filmmaking, with filmmaking already within itself trying to make something that's unbelievable look believable. We always in the Western world, and I don't even want to now even say the Western world. I think it's just a global thing now. Making something look more real, making something where you can't even tell the difference. That's what we get even CGI from a standpoint. You want to put even more the most fantastical creature in the same scene as a human being, and we've seen this growth within these last I don't even want to say 2 years at this point of what AI has been able to do. And we see in this in the Gnostic scriptures how the Gnostics were always talking about that was their biggest thing. We use the word illusion, we use things like that, but it really is it's about the real versus the unreal. Now that can be, and usually it is taken from a spiritual point. But what do we do as Gnostics, when that's taken to a very literal point? If I see something on the internet today of a politician saying something, of a celebrity saying something, I'm actually a huge comic book movie fan, and there's this thing going around right now with the latest Avengers of Doomsday movie, and there's these set leaks or these leaks from the movie set where people are looking at it and they're thinking that we were thinking to ourselves, is that real? Is that AI? So I see the danger in what this could, and I think what the Nazis were always talking about. Now, from their point in the past, the Roman Empire, things like that, when we didn't even have all the technologies today, and they were able to say that's not real or that is real. What were they seeing back then where they could say that's not real but that is real, and put that in the context of of spirituality? So now that we have all this, say if, like I said, if a politician says something or releases a video here in America, we even see the president here in America um playing around with that a little bit, the real versus the unreal. How do we as Gnostics go forward saying that's not real but that is real? So yes, that's our topic today. Do we does AI play a danger? Let's start right there. Do you think that AI plays a danger, Bishop Nathan?
It can, yes, certainly. And it can also be used as a benefit as well for our own spiritual growth as well, or our own knowledge. It's not so much what gives us the knowledge, but what gives us our own understanding of it. We as Gnostics, we recognize duality. So we're traditionally dualists. We see the good and bad, or the light and darkness in everything. We understand that the material can also be harmful to the spiritual side of ourselves, as
Mhm.
well as the spiritual side of ourselves, or the spiritual realm can impact the material. And in turn, can create something material such as AI came
Mhm.
about from this. So AI can be used for good things such as heart surgery, but it can be used for negative things such as propaganda and, of course, trolling people, even making fake videos and all this sort of stuff, etc. So that's when it gets harder because what we take in, we have to be careful what we take in. We are taught to fast from food so much with religious laws of things, but rather it's more important to fast from the eyes in today's world. Taking in, we'll be careful what we're taking in.
Mhm.
So, as humans are basically co-creators, and like a demiurge, we too create a material realm. In this case, AI, a world within another world, similar to the spiritual realm within material world,
Mm.
except a cheap copy, if you will, coding instead of DNA. So
Right. And I like that you said that because that was one thing that was on my mind too about how a really good book. The author, I don't know whether or not I like him, but it's certain things that he kind of say I don't know about that. But for the most part, I like him. Was the book, I forget his name, but it's the book Not in His Image. You probably have heard about that book. If not, it's the book's called Not in His Image. But one of the things that he puts and he stresses in that book, which you see it in the Gnostic text, is that the demiurge and the archons do not create anything from our perspective of creating. They're copying something that they see, and they're copying. So say if I see say if I have house plans and I want to build this house, the house just doesn't just come up in my imagination, so to speak. I'm actually looking at the house plans, and I can see how to do it to a to a certain extent. I hope that makes sense.
yes,
But with AI doesn't create anything. Only really copies what we give it.
yeah,
And we see that same thing within the Gnostic state, that the demiurge and the archons merely are replicators. And that's why we look at, when I say we as Gnostics, or even, especially Sethian Gnostics, we look at this world as imperfect in that aspect that the demiurge is copying something from a higher realm, and we have this world today. We are humans, or as an extension to a certain extent of that demiurge energy, or the demiurge energy.
oh, just cut out for a second.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
We as humans are doing the exact same thing with AI, feeding AI something, but AI isn't creating something brand new. It's simply just mimicking what we give it. So it looks imperfect. People say that about AI all the time. When you look at an AI image, oh, I can see that it can't do reflections. Or if I do the exact same image, AI is going to look the same, but if you aren't careful, it's going to like tweak certain things, and you can't. It's not really the same image, but just looking at it, it looks like it is the same image. You have to have sight. You have to really look deeper into what you're looking at, and I think that's what the Gnostics were always talking about. Look deeper into what is in front of your face. Even Jesus says, "I've said, if you recognize what is in front of you, then you will understand." So yeah, I go on and on, but give me your thoughts.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Mhm,
So with the idea of copying, AI itself is secondhand information, and
mhm,
even Jesus stating, be aware of the secondhand information, go straight to the source that's within you. So this spiritual realm being more powerful than the world around us, and even people fear AI being godlike, similar to the demiurge or even gods in certain stories, fearing humanity becoming godlike. So
mhm,
and we're copying something because we're copying in the image of ourselves, because this is what we know. So similar with the demiurge story, even copying the universe and something above that universe, or copying the spiritual realm and making this material realm. So we
mhm.
as humans should be careful of taking in what secondhand information we take in. It can serve us too, but it shouldn't be our direct source that's within us. And
Mhm.
also our action, our experience and feeling. We have to experience it to really know it. Otherwise, we're just putting our faith in it as well.
Right. Yes. Because I think that's that thing too of like we as humans are now starting to say to ourselves, no, 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 we're real. Like what we're creating is real, but we have this AI thing that is becoming a little bit more advanced, and we're looking at it, it's like, well, no, that's real. So uh, for me, I like to use, and this is just me personally, I like to look at AI definitely that as a tool. I like to use it as a tool where you clearly can tell that it's fake. I don't really like to get into like the realism of certain stuff. Like, oh, that's kind of weird. Look, the uncanny valley, as they say, where it's like, you know, But I think that AI is going to be something that's going to, it's a part of our world now. It is going to get even more advanced, whether we like it or not. I wouldn't even be surprised if AI has been used in ways that we haven't even really been really recognized that that's what it is. And I think that we as Gnostics, I think that our best bet right now is to utilize a tool when we see that it's a tool, but to pray and to continue to have that mindset of help us to have the eyes to see what is real versus what is fake. Because it can easily be used. What if somebody makes an AI thing like this right now and they talking about Gnosticism, but they're saying some off the wall, weird stuff, and we know how quickly it is, how the world can look at something like that and say, "Oh, all Gnostics believe that." Oh, they radical. They crazy. They trying to destroy us. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very thin line. I feel like that's where the AI problem comes into.
AI
and I
also
and
is kind of similar to our collective consciousness too. So relying on that information, and a lot of times because it's relying on that information collectively,
Mhm,
and favors the most popular opinion as well. And so
exactly.
we, even in the AI world, get censored there as well, not
Mhm,
just bullies online or by dogmatic approaching Christians, but also by the system itself, because Gnosticism is scary to the system because it offers a way of breaking those chains, and that's scary. You don't want people having complete freedom in a sense. They
mhm.
want, because rules in the turn also keep humanity from destroying themselves. It depends on our collective consciousness. The further we descend into chaos, AI in turn will also descend into chaos because it was fueled by that collective consciousness, which in turn, what the Gnostics were warning about as well, is what we take in and recognize that a tool is meant to be used by us. So not in turn to control us. We're not that tool. It's like the ego itself. Or you use it as a tool. You're not a hammer. You're using the hammer as a tool.
Because we do have to think to ourselves, what was it? And if the Gnostics recognized this, even in the first, second, third, fourth century, stuff like that, if what was really going on where people were actually really believing that the gods were real, and you could separate that truth from the falseness. And if it was something like that back then, now I don't, I don't even want to say the gods, plural, do play a part into it, but just even just the belief system where you can get a mass of people to believe something, us as human beings, because we aren't separate from those human beings. We still are those same ancestors, just come back. That's how I look at it. If they were able to be fooled with what we look back at back then as stone age technology, something that we can look at today and we say that's clearly fake. what, what were these ancestors able to look at and see that made them actually really believe, like, oh hell no, if we don't sacrifice this stuff, Zeus gonna blow up that volcano or the thunder gonna come down and strike us. So there's nothing new under the sun, as the Bible puts it. And I think that we as human beings today, and especially as us Gnostics, need to to understand that yes, we have this advanced technology, and AI is here to stay, whether we like it or not. But what are we going to do going forward? Are we going to utilize it, or are we going to say no? I think it's the thing. Are we going to utilize it at face value? Are we going to say let's use it as a tool, but be very careful knowing what's real and what's not real? Or are we just going to just say, let's just no, it not at all. Nothing, no AI, nothing. Do you think that we should utilize it as a tool?
I think we could use it as a tool. I think we should be like wary as well, not rely on it, because a lot of people, that's the thing with information willingly give to you, especially in the form of questions.
Mhm.
Humans have always under the sun seeking someone out in order to answer their questions. And if that's at the fingertips of their hands, that can be dangerous because that means they're relying on that like their master. So
Mhm.
technology can be the distraction of our own spiritual growth. Anything can. In the ancient past, they didn't have these computers like we did. They had other means of distractions as well. Religion as well can be a distraction. Your own political views, which they had back then. There was a lot of propaganda as well, especially spewed out by the royal families.
Mhm.
So the Gnostics were aware of this as well. So in turn, they would find rest within it, taking a fast from the material world, taking a break from
Yes.
peace,
And
finding that
that's
in
what
a.
oh, I'm sorry.
You continue,
But
David.
that's
I
what
was just
Yeshua
finished.
says in the Gospel of Thomas. Unless you fast from the world, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven. And I think that people, of course, when you get to use the world, people think of going to work, taking care of your family, doing that, that. But I don't think that that's what Yeshua or any other ancients were saying. I think that there's a very fine line that if you don't, let's just use it from our modern context, because I think it is very easily to read all this and get so caught up in how the ancients thought, and we forget that the kingdom of heaven is within us. It's here right now. So then the world is here right now. So then what does that look like in our world? Unless you fast from the world, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Unless you turn that TV off, unless you put the phone down for a second, unless you take a break from social media just for a minute, unless you stop watching the news just for a second, you won't know what's real. You won't know that, oh my God, it looks like the world is a thunderstorm 24/7, but the sun is shining outside right now in a field. Jesus says, look at those birds. They don't worry about nothing. Aren't you worth more than birds? so, so,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I'm not about to be here, and I think the AI is here to stay. I hate to be a pessimist, but I think AI is going to get a lot more scary as it's going to become a lot more real. But I think us as Gnostics, I think our prayer needs to be for help us to separate the real from the unreal. And I think that has been the Gnostic message for centuries now. Do you recognize what is in front of you, or do you are going to look at what is false? And we get with the archons and the demiurge that they only can mimic something. They don't create anything. They only mimic things. Mm.
And that's a lot of case with a lot of humans as well. So we can even play this role as archons, especially archon
Exactly.
being a political ruler, just copying other rulers from their time and before their time. So not doing anything new. They weren't helping the people. And this is why the Gnostics were even saying not to put your faith in them. Even the Old Testament or Jewish Torah states not to place your trust in princes and humans. It's better to place it in God. So
Hmm.
with fasting from the world, this is an individual path of one self embracing God alone, finding it within, finding heaven within, and embracing it alone, seeing it through the dark and the good, and finding rest in that. So realizing that this is just a temporary place, we got somewhere greater that we belong to, the source, and everything returns to its source, everything returns to its root. So this is what the Gnostics were ultimately teaching, to find balance as well.
Yes, because I do like that. Like you said, return to the source. I love that, and I've really been warming up to that passage where Jesus says in the Gospel of Thomas that the kingdom of heaven is like it's like children that are in a field that is not their own. And one thing, not just children, but one thing human beings know, when you in a place and this is not your home, you act differently. You have to put on a face, a false face. That's not your true self, so to speak. So I always find it funny how the Gnostics were using it, and then we live this day to day, but then Gnostics, they were heretics and they were uh that's fake and conspiracy theorists and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, no, that's exactly what we do day to day, quite frankly. Uh, um there's as above, so below, as the Hermetic axiom say.
Yeah. Like it's interesting. There's even a passage in the Torah, I forgot exactly where, but it warns about conspiracy theories as well. So it warns about people what they take in. And if we look at conspiracy theories today, it's mostly mainstream Christianity. Most Gnostics are interested in living the monk lifestyle and finding within, finding heaven within, resting from it all, and understanding what's delusion and what's real, and what, in by that standard, what actually benefits you spiritually, physically.
Yes.
Great chat so far. It's 20 minutes so far. I was thinking to end this as a sort of chat. So I put it part twos anyway. So I'm going to put this one whole on my channel. I can put it on there. But we have a goodie that me, David, and Lorenzo worked on, which will be uploaded soon, which is about death to the material world. So that's going to be interesting.
Yes. Shout out to Brother Lorenzo. He's doing great work.
So did you, David. You have done fantastic work and more to come. So thank you for being here on this chat. And I'll end it here and we can just hang out in the chat for a little bit. Blessings to everyone. And please welcome here Father David, Pastor David, Priest David. It's an honor to have him.
Yeah, thank you. And everybody, let us know what you think. Put in the comments. How do you look at the AI growing, and how do we as Gnostics, how do you think that we should engage this advanced technology that's growing?
Blessings all.
Thank you.